name's Mary Thomas, and I'm a designer jeweller. So basically, I get to play with gold, silver, platinum, and I have a job that I absolutely love. Um, yeah, I'm very lucky.
That sounds so exciting. As someone who loves anything that sparkles, that sounds amazing.
Well, it's you become a little bit complacent sometimes about the fact that you literally have bags of diamonds, bags of small diamonds, and they're around the workshop, and your dust is even sparkly. So everything we make, we generate sort of dust and things like that from processing and cutting and polishing the metal. So even our dust is sparkly. So it's very much a world that I just, it's nice because I play in this world as well. So I get to design and play in it, and I feel very privileged because a piece of jewelry tends to be taken on board as something very personal as well.
Yes.
I get to do my sort of play thing, which is brilliant because I get to be the designer that I train to be. But then a jewelry becomes more than the actual piece to somebody. It's sentimental. So if you're doing a wedding ring or engagement, you become part of that history, and it's around for forever, and that's incredibly humbling actually as well.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. I mean, I love jewelry. I love rings and all sorts of. But everything I have has a meaning behind it. It has a. I remember buying this, or this was bought for me on this particular occasion, and this is so. Yeah, how amazing! And the fact that you are literally covered in sparkles day in and day out. I mean, oh my goodness, where
Well,
do you sign me up?
actually, it's not that side of it, see, because I design and make it. I have a team, and it's not that glamorous, that side of it, because to actually design and make, you end up being quite we only end up covered in dust. So you'll see us in the workshop with well, the girls anyway, lipstick, makeup, and a massive dark streak of polish down one side of your face, because and if you do this and you rub your nose and then you go out to talk to a customer, you realise you've got a line or a moustache across your face, and you've got to tell the girls to swipe this stuff as well. Your hands are covered in dirt, but your dirt will be platinum, gold, and silver dirt, but it's black. So
dirt nonetheless, but very expensive dirt.
Expensive dirt. We're classy, yes.
So when you were growing up then, what were your goals and dreams? Did you have ambition to do what you do now, or was the path a totally different one?
No, I went to art college, so I was always interested in art. I had a fantastic teacher in school who just taught you how to question everything. Why are you doing this? Why are you drawing that? And he was passionate, and that made all the difference. To have somebody who was passionate, who instilled that sort of enthusiasm and passion in yourself. I was so lucky, and luckily it was my art teacher, because I was generally rubbish at languages and sciences and things like that. But art and music actually. So I also did music. But I went to art college, and I just played around with. I did a foundation. I played around with a lot of different sort of materials and tools, and sort of narrowed it down to things I didn't like. So I wasn't that sort of drawn to ceramics. Glass would have been interesting, but I liked working with my hands. And then I discovered metals, which was quite interesting, because when I was in school, we weren't offered metalwork in school. We ended up doing cookery and needlework, which shows how old I am. But they literally didn't give the girls the option to do metalwork in school, metalwork or woodwork, which is just shocking now I think about it. But we went off way and went about. I think we were the last year in school to do that. But then I ended up then doing a degree in three-dimensional design in metals afterwards. So I went to Carmarthen Art College, and I did everything, and then discovered that I quite liked working in metals and hammering something. I think that quite like
out the frustration of the week.
Absolutely, yes. And then I went to the Birmingham School of Jewellery, so I trained there, and then I did my degree in Farnham then in three-dimensional design metals. So I worked a little bit in a forge as well. So I worked in a sort of more sort of blacksmithing sort of forge. But when I was going to move back home, I ended up setting up in the bottom of my parents' garden, and because a forge would have taken loud noises and not hammering, my parents sort of went, we've got neighbours, can you go and work a little bit smaller? Which is good, because smaller meant that then I worked, instead of in wrought iron, I ended up, you end up working in gold, silver and platinum, or precious metals. So I'm not saying I wouldn't love to sort of hammer something and do more silversmithing, but I tend to work smaller, more in jewellery rather than the bigger stuff. But, one of these days I'll have a play again.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's so cool that you can do art from a young age and it turns into what you've done now. It's so funny because I would never have imagined what type of journey you have to go on to do what you do. I would never know where to start.
Well, I think there's a few journeys into this industry, and a lot of people. There's some people who just train to be on the bench, so they will just train to just make things or just do repairs. There are other people who will train to just be setters, just to be engravers. I might say just, and we're talking highly skilled.
Yeah.
The route I took was very much from a designer route. So I trained as a designer, but then I had the technical skills through the route that I went to. So luckily I'm able to combine both. So and then, rather than sort of waste it all, and I came out of university and there weren't any jobs around. I ended up doing a few bits and pieces after I left university, but I had to create my own business then, because there wasn't anything for me to walk into. So I loved what I do, and I think if you love what you do, then it's not a job; it becomes your passion, and it's such a big part of your life to work. Then I feel very privileged that I've managed to create this massive section of my life. An environment that I love. I mean, it's a privilege.
It is. Yeah, it is. It's hard work. It is. And I think, caught on a bad day, it's like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. There's so much to do. It's such hard work. There's so much to think about, because when you're, at the top and it is your business, you have to oversee everything, and that's tough. That is really hard.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as a business and even just sort of, motivation and things, I might love what I do. And the ups, I've always said the ups are incredible. And the up times and the, when you get something right, or the opportunities, the opportunities I've had or created has just been absolutely amazing. The places I've been able to travel and the people I've met has just been incredible. But the payoff to that, to the downs, are, this responsibility, the pressure, the fact there is no end of the month, the fact that you have a financial commitment, you've set up this business that you have to run on top of it all, and the sort of the pressure to sort of the pressure that comes with it. There's an absolute, the downs are quite low, but then you don't get the ups without the downs. And I wouldn't trade that for just
a linear,
because that's just not me, and it's not the life I want to lead. I want those possibilities, but your life tends to do that.
a lot.
The wave, and but you constantly, I think, because I've come from a creative background, you're constantly thinking how to be creative in lots of different ways, whether it's designing a piece for a customer, or whether it's running a business, or how you spend your time, or how you manage people, or how you tend to think, you tend to take that creativity across. And it does come with, both those up and down sides, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
So talk us through opening your business then. You said you trained for quite a while and you didn't have a job to go to, so you thought, right, I've got to do it myself. How did that start for you? How, obviously you had to start small to begin with, but how did it all begin?
Well, after leaving university, I ended up working for Carmarthenshire County Council, and I saw a tenuous link in cultural services that linked with museums and galleries. So I ended up going in as a librarian, so which was very interesting, because I talk a lot. So I think I probably didn't make a very good librarian because I wasn't very quiet. So I used to just be known as just giggling in the sort of stacks and things. But at the same time, I had about 6 or 7 jobs eventually, I think, with Carmarthenshire County Council. I did all the ID cards for them. I was a photographer for them. I used to work for a gallery in the council. And then basically I decided to sort of take the plunge after a while. And so I started off in the shed at the bottom of my parents' garden. So whilst I had all these jobs for Commands County Council, I was still working in the evening. So I'd sort of sit there taking people's ID photos and things, going, I'm really not a photographer, which didn't instill a lot of
confidence,
confidence in what I did. But I really do. And I was art trained anyway, but still. But anyway, so I set up in the shed at the bottom of my parents' garden, and just grew the business from there. And my mum I did so many commissions from there, and it was wonderful. I mean, I used to come down the side of my parents' house, and I ended up doing things for people like Ray Gravel and Carla Rizzi, who was the director of the National Opera. My dad would open the door, and then there'd be somebody like that standing there, which was mad, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
And I remember asking somebody, gosh, why did you me to make your rings or something so important? And they just said, well, you were enthusiastic about it, and that was just incredibly special and incredibly humbling, actually.
Yeah.
So so from the shed at the bottom of the garden, I just literally sort of grew it slowly. I mean, I've been doing this for, I worked out the other day, 22 years, which is quite
wow.
But I'm still here. So that's
that's amazing.
The journey has been, there's no how-to guide in running a business, and there's no how-to guide in running an arts-based business. I'm very passionate about the fact that I run a business, but also I'm creative without compromise. Each piece of work I do, I'm proud to put my name to. And there's a big story. There's a very deliberate creative story and journey behind every piece. So how I want to grow the business is I want to grow it still. I've got big plans, but without compromising my integrity as an artist.
Yes, absolutely. That's a difficult thing, isn't it? I think everybody asks you, what's your 5-year plan? What do you want to do? How do you want to expand and things? And I think not everybody, but most people do when they have a small business. They want to make it bigger and more successful, but there is always that doubt in your mind. People, like you said just now, people are investing in you as much as they're investing in your product and what you do and what you sell and create. So I think once they realize it's not you, it's somebody else who's somebody else is somebody else, they're not as keen to kind of buy into that. Lots of people don't mind, but I think once they know you and they know that it's your product that they're buying into, it's there becomes that rapport and relationship, doesn't there?
Absolutely. And I don't want to do that, but I also feel passionate with the fact that I want to run a business that can grow, that I'm proud of. And I got selected a couple of about a year ago by Goldman Sachs to do their it's a 10 KSB, the course was called, and it's basically for high growth businesses. So they basically saw potential in me, and the fact I was chosen to do that was incredible. And I ended up graduating from Syed Business School at Oxford University last year. So from an artist sat there, it was incredible to be there. And I was one of the smallest businesses there, but they literally said, right, how can we turn your business 10 times over? So it was actually incredibly interesting from a creative point of view, how I take what I've got, but it's not a case of taking what I've got and multiplying it 10 times. I've had to sort of redefine it completely and keep all the elements that I absolutely believe to my core. I came out of it with a 45-page document on my core values, which is what I'm taking forward. So so I use the lockdown then as the time to implement all this. So I've been going through all my collections, and I've been making them better and adding to them and just improving them, improving the way we're making them and the level of workmanship in something that I was happy with first of all, but I've changed everything. I do a lot of collections, so I've worked my socks off during lockdown to come out of this, just even on a different, on a better level, on a different level again, to just say, right, okay, how do we run this creative business, and basically also put Wales on the map internationally, as from a design point of view as well.
Absolutely. So, wonderful. Oh my goodness. I was going to ask, lockdown obviously has been tough, with with a lot of restrictions and closures of stores and things like that. And I was going to ask what you'd been doing, but it sounds like you've been doing quite a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, I literally started off ripping apart. I mean, I owned the Old Castle Hotel in Llandilo. So you do peak, some people come in saying, oh, it was a pub. I got very drunk there. And it's now full of sparkly, shiny things. And I don't remember it as a pub actually, but it's quite a big building. So I immediately, during lockdown, all the things that I didn't have a chance to do when I first opened this place about 2 years ago, I went around and moved everything around. So I moved all the jewellery around. I've got a room for my artists. So I also sell the work of about 25 other artists, which I'm very proud of because I support them as well. So moved everything around, pulled all my systems apart. We redid the office, so we've got a new office. And then we've actually pulled the office apart in under 6 months to build another office, because I'm looking at taking on about at least another seven staff. So we've now, so the office I've just done, I'm thinking of repainting. We've only just painted the walls, and now I'm looking at a different, because it's now going to be my office as opposed to everyone's office. So in less than 6 months, my plans, I've grown out of my first lot of plans during lockdown to expand and improve. So I've also been homeschooling my 7-year-old since January. So that has been tough.
I bet.
Very tough.
I bet.
I can honestly say I think I cried every 2 hours in January just trying to get him through his work. But he's back in school 2 days ago, so it's wonderful. So it's good for him, you know.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Yeah.
To be kind to yourself as well. I mean, there's lots of things I feel I haven't done. You know, I haven't done the Couch to 5K I said I was going to do. You know, I have probably drunk a lot more wine and justified it as a fruit potion. So there's things that people have done and embraced fully that I haven't done. So
I think, you know what, I think everybody has looked at it from that point of view. Everybody has gone, oh my goodness, you know, look at so and so and so. But actually what you have achieved is incredible, and the fact that, you know, what you're setting up now will go on, you know, for years and years and years to come. You know, you're, like you say, you're expanding, you're starting to grow, you're putting in things in place that, you know, won't just be a now thing. It'll be, you know, in the future too.
I think, you know, I wanted to come out of this with, you know, we've looked at our systems, we've looked at being, I mean, we're the ultimate, most jewellers, believe it or not, are the ultimate wombles anyway. We recycle everything. Because it is gold, silver, platinum, diamonds, you know, you can imagine we dust everything down. So, you know, looking at our work in processes, just trying to realize that we were doing things good, but how to become more, so, you know, sustainable, more, you know, eco-friendly. I mean, I hope to come out of this then offering jobs to at least 6 or 7 people, which is something that, given the fact that, you know, we've had a pandemic, lots of people have lost their jobs. You know, I know how tough it's been, and I've been very lucky that, you know, that's what I want to do when we come out of this, is just basically just be in a stronger position to be more responsible and help as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's wonderful. And the thing is, you could be creating opportunities for people who, you know, are just starting out or just really interested in what you're doing, but don't have, you know, you yourself know that when you came out of university, you didn't have anybody to take you on in that sense. And so for somebody to have a mentor, or somebody to have somebody else that can go, look, I've been here, I can help you, I can, you know, pave the way for you, is incredible.
I think, you know, I've done everything wrong, you know, as I've said, and I can honestly tell you, you know, you name it, I've tried it and done it, but learned for it and picked myself up afterwards. So, you know, in the terms of how-to guides, you know, there isn't one, but I've certainly hit nearly every pitfall, and I know how to climb out of it.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing. That is the most important thing. I think, you know, obviously I do something different to you, but we're still very creative. And I think when you say to my company, you know, they're like, oh, that was a really bad rehearsal, or that wasn't a particularly good performance. And I'm like, well, we learn from it. You know, failure is something that you can't, once you've failed, there's only up. I'm like, you know, let's learn from that. And, you know, if you make the same mistake again, then learn again. You know, it's not a case of, well, that's it, I won't ever do that again, because you will. You know, you will. I can promise you that much. It's going to happen again. And I think, you know, when you're talking to young people, they're like, oh, no, I don't want to do that, make that mistake again. And I'm like, I'm sorry, love, but it's going to happen. I've done it several times and will continue to make those mistakes. But it's
Yeah.
how you learn and grow from them. And it's how you then, help other people and work with other people. And, just keep being creative. I think that's.
And I think with sort of social media and stuff these days, you tend to see all the sort of glitz, you tend to see all the positive things, and you don't tend to see the struggles. And I've picked up myself up more times than anyone would know, because that's the side you tend to show of it at the shows on it. But I think it's important we do discuss that and to do tell people that there are going to be downs. There are I run a business, so there's that's another layer, that's the layer. But it's what you do. It's what you do when you have to pick yourself up and how much you learn for it. And it's the fact you get up again and go, it's a new day, and resilience. I think resilience is the key, really.
Definitely.
So, 22 years in business, I'm still trying. As my husband, says, she's very trying, maybe.
Oh, I get that saying all the time. When I'll say I'm trying, and my family will go, she's very trying. Rude. I think, do you know what? Getting back up again and that resilience is testimony to how much you enjoy and how much you love what you do. I think, when people say, oh God, just give up, and you're like, never, I never would, because this is too important to me, and it means too much to me to ever, even if you take it down a different path, or, you close that door and open one similar.
Oh God, yes. I'm not going down the same path as I started out. One of my first ambitions was to have a showcase in the gallery in Swansea. That was my first ambition, just to have this. And I bought this suit from Laura Ashley, I think. It's a pinstripe suit. And I wanted to wear it somewhere where I had a showcase of my work in the gallery. And that was my ambition. That was it. I couldn't see past that. It was just, I wanted to get my work on show in a gallery. And then I had a little solo show in this gallery in Swansea. And then, I ended up showing in New York and Japan and doing all that lot. And you just, all you do though is you reinvent yourself. You reinvent it each time. You find different ways of negotiating. But I constantly move the goalposts. So once you've sort of ticked that off, you just think, oh right, what's the next thing? And it's always one big step. Owning this building and things was something I never thought I'd do.
That is incredible.
Okay, right. How do we redefine on a global platform what Welsh crafts-based business or a Welsh arts-based business could do? So that's
absolutely.
What I didn't start out thinking that. I started out when I want to wear that suit. Just one shelf would have done me,
But that's the thing, isn't it? When you start out, you do. Of course you dream big, but I think you're realistic and you think, well, I've never done this before and I don't really know what to expect or what I'm doing. So, but once you've ticked it off, like you say, your capabilities. I did this and I did it successfully and it was well received. So then, that's when and it's the confidence, I think sometimes, you might have the confidence in your ability, but it's the confidence to know that other people buy into what you're doing.
I was given a book by a friend of mine in the year 2000, and I'd always wanted to go to New York, and he went, and he didn't take me, but there we are.
Rude.
We're still friends. And luckily, I've gone several times since. I've been about 9 or 10 times since. But he gave me this book, and it was pictures of New York, and it was pictures of New York vertical. And Stuart wrote inside it, "The sky is not the limit," and I love that line because. Yeah. It's just the sky is not the limit. It's literally the only limitations are what we sort of tend to this is sounding
put on ourselves.
Put on ourselves. And it's not about being bigger. It's just achieving. It's just being happy and achieving the best you can be. That's all I don't mean in terms of scale of business and things like that. And just when you do a piece of work for somebody and it means something to them, then that's my sky's not the limit. The fact I've made somebody happy with what they've done, or it's been a memorial piece of jewelry, that is everything as well. It's not about the size of the buildings and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that you've hit the nail on the head there for me, 100%. You get out what you put in, and if you put in so much love and hard work and determination, you will see the rewards. And when somebody says to you, "I love what you've created for me," there's nothing better, is there?
So you just. it's wonderful. It's
Yeah.
really wonderful. So yeah, I'm lucky.
So, if you could give advice to maybe your younger self or somebody else who is really interested in, the creative arts or building a business, a platform for themselves, what do you think your advice would be?
Play to your strengths.
Yeah.
I mean, working out that you're not going to be good at everything is a big learning curve. And there's so much that I'm absolutely rubbish at, including modern technology, as we discussed earlier. I'm far better with a hammer and a pair of pliers than Skype. But I would say play to your strengths, and also just, it's really understanding. I think there's confidence and there's arrogance, and it's just really understanding what you're good at and where you can develop, and then surrounding yourself by good people, surrounding yourself by excellent people, actually, who'll also give you good advice and tell you if will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. So I have good friends around me and good business people around me who I can pick the phone up to and say, look, I'm dealing with this. How do I deal with this? And realizing that you can't all do it yourself, and ask for help, because that's the biggest thing. But going back to my sort of younger self, I think it would be is to ditch that who do you think you are and the confidence thing, and just say, look, just go for it.
Yeah.
Just go for it, and don't go for it so slowly, if anything. I mean, I don't know. But then everything I've done has led to this point. So I've made the decisions I made at the time, so I can't regret anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's wonderful advice. I mean, trying to pick that apart is hard, but definitely no, it's great. No, it's brilliant. I think definitely the surround yourself by people that, will support you, pick you up when you're down, but also, like you say, tell you what you need to hear. Yeah, oh, you're wonderful. Oh, you're marvelous. Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's lovely. Don't get me wrong, is nothing nicer than when somebody pays you a lovely compliment, but I can't learn from that. I can't grow from that. I can't, surround yourself with people who just tell you how marvelous you are. You don't get anywhere apart from maybe your head gets a little bit bigger. Like nothing happens from that. I mean, so yes, absolutely. And people that you can bounce ideas off of as well, because sometimes you get in like maybe a creative rut, or maybe you're not sure as to whether like to go down this route or this route, and somebody puts a totally different spin on it, and you go, that's incredible, let's do that. I love collaboration. It's wonderful.
And me, I love it. My best friend she's doing an MA in surface tech at the moment, and and my other best friend owns a cashmere factory in Ammanford, and we and she's a designer, and I pick the phone up to them on so many occasions, and I run is this too, I've made these earrings, are they too long, does it look right, is it really crap, would you tell me it's rubbish? What do you think of this? And but I've got this idea and I want to run with it, what do you think of it? And oh no, I pick the phone up all the time. I think if I had to give my younger son this, is stop starting, but I think it's a flirty thing, stop starting sentences with the word sorry. That's the only thing. It's not never say sorry, because I think sorry is I'll hold my hands up if I messed up, and that's all you can do in life, and in your business you're going to do something like that. Absolutely. But I start sentences with sorry, and I think it's a Fletchy thing or a Welsh thing, I'm not quite sure.
No, do you know what I think? I don't know whether it is a Welsh thing, but it's the apologetic thing all the time. You're apologizing for something that you're like, well, hang on a minute, I don't know why I'm apologizing to this. It is, but I do it all the time, and I am often told by people if I'm in a meeting or if I'm running a class, or if I'm at a particular event and I have to speak, and they're like, please, Jen, please do not start with, okay, so I'm just going to apologize. What are you apologizing for? And already then, like, because sorry seems to be something that maybe like you might be upset about, disappointed about, people think, oh my goodness, this is going to be a really dreary, upsetting, horrific experience. And actually that's not the case at all.
It's not what you mean at all, is it? No, I know.
No. And I think as well, sometimes, you give yourself really, really harsh critique, I think, I don't know what you're like, but I'm horrendous. I'll do a recording, or we'll do a performance, or we'll do a video, or I'll have to send some stuff off to somebody and I'll record it. And I'll be really happy at the time. I'm very happy with the standard of what we've produced. I'll then watch it back a couple of days later and I'll go, oh God, that was dreadful. And then immediately I'm on the phone, I'm on the email, whatever, and I'm apologizing for what I've sent. And I'm like, why? If
Yeah.
it was fine then, why a day later? It's that critical thing, isn't it? It's always picking holes in it. It's always trying to find something that you could improve on.
Yeah, but it isn't helpful sometimes.
Not at all.
It doesn't, and I don't think it puts you in a very good mindset as well. And I just
Yeah.
think I'll hold my hands up on any occasion. And there's times when running a business that we don't get everything right straight away, and an absolute, there's an apology. But yeah, no, I'm good to start in sentences with sorry, I'm here.
Yeah.
It's like take up space.
I feel it. Maybe it is a Welsh thing. Maybe it's a creative thing. I don't know, but I can 100% guarantee that I also do that.
We just all need to learn from it, and as artists, as creatives, women, whatever, we just got to learn from it fast.
Yeah, quickly, please. So, what would you say is the most enjoyable thing about your job? If you could pick one thing.
The freedom and the possibilities. So that's true.
That's fine.
The freedom to create possibilities. That sounds a bit better. It's quite all encompassing. So as I said, the moments that you make something for somebody and it means something, that the fact that you've done something you can for somebody else that will mean something is priceless.
Yeah.
It's priceless. Those moments are the most special. The times that this business has created opportunities for me where I've ended up like backstage at the Albert Hall for Bryn Terfyn's 50th, just the fact I was there, listening to incredible music, where I was backstage, how the heck that happened by, those moments are that have opened up because I've had the business that I have, and because of the business I'm in, the fact I've been able to go around Japan and show in New York and things, those moments that I've created due to this business is just amazing. Yeah, that's not one thing, is it? It's the act, isn't it?
Well, I think so. I think the freedom to create, is incredible. And I think, yeah, sure, it's one thing, and it leads to so many wonderful things. And I think that's amazing that you've had all these incredible opportunities from what you've done. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I've been really lucky.
Do you have, or have you ever had, a favourite piece that you've created?
There's some collections I've made that I'm incredibly proud of. That I make a collection called Decorative Concepts that's basically based on crushed paper. Basically, my dear friend Lisa from Corgi calls it my Ferrero Rocher collection, and luckily we're good friends. But it's basically based on design notes. So it's as I was designing the collection, I ended up with lots of piles of paper, all covered in my design notes, and they could have got from lots of different possibilities. And I just took a piece of my hand and went, what if I freeze that in metal? What if I just freeze that in time, and that becomes the wearable object? And that thought process, I'm pleased with that.
Yeah.
Every piece I do to commission, though, is the moment I make it or finish it and polish it, and at that point, and we're handing it over to the customer, at that point in time, that's the piece I'm most pleased with.
Yeah.
Because that's the piece that matters at that point in time, because it matters to me at that point in time, and it will matter to my customer at that point in time. So at that point in time, that becomes the most important piece in the world to me.
Yeah, wonderful. Amazing. No, I totally get it. And I think, people will say that to me all the time. Or what was your most memorable performance that, and you're like, well, what do you mean? How do you pick that out? It's really tough, isn't it? Because I think sometimes as well, something that maybe I've booked for the children to do, and some of these things are on a massive scale, but actually the more intimate performances tend to be the ones that were more memorable, or the most enjoyable, or because they had less pressure, or so it is hard, it is difficult to choose. But I totally understand, when you hand that over, that's that moment is so special.
Moment as well, because you really want it, you're pleased with it, but you want and you do try and manage customer expectations and things, but I want them to absolutely love it, because it's important to them as well. So at that point, it's everything,
Yeah. So my last question for you, Mary, is, lockdown has been crazy. It has been mental. We're hoping to be moving a little bit more, towards the future, towards, a new normal for sure, but a normal that hopefully we will grow into. What are your plans for the next year, 2 years, 3 years? What do you hope to do and see and,
Going back to my 45-page Goldman Sachs doc. I've got it all right. Oh, I definitely don't have that much time. But yeah, what I want to do is I've got a plan to grow the business, and I have incredible support through friends and colleagues I've met through the Goldman Sachs team as well, and who just saw something in me, because it was quite a stringent process to get through. And the fact that they saw what I did to have limitless possibilities made me incredibly excited about it, because I think that as an arts-based business in Wales, if I can redefine the model, then it gives everyone else permission to do that as well, and actually have a business that they can earn a proper living from and be valued. Yeah. So this is sounding so weighted, but I literally came out with, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to redefine it on a
That's amazing.
But I want to be, I've got plans to grow the website. I've got plans to offer. I mean, we try and offer exceptional customer service that exceeds people's expectations, but we're looking at improving that as well, and looking at sustainability and growing it online. I want to do more international work. I want to be, there's a long list. So watch this. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing.
And still without compromise. That's the biggest thing. Without compromise, and enjoy what I do.
Absolutely. Well, it's been incredible to talk to you. Thank you so much for giving up your time to chat to me today. I've had such a wonderful time listening to everything that you do. It's been so brilliant and incisive, I think, because, I a lot of the time talk to performers and directors and people, but, I love talking to creative people, but in like a different side of the creative kind of arts. It's been amazing to chat to you. Thank you so much. I wish you all the very best of luck with everything.
Oh, thank you so much for asking me. It's a real privilege, and thank you so much.
No worries, not a problem at all. Well, I would love to keep in touch. Absolutely, hear about everything that's going on and that you're doing, and we will put the link to your site up when we put this up too as well.
Thank you very much, Jen.
No problem at all. It has. It's been so lovely, and it's so lovely to talk to someone else who's Welsh. It's like, yay, here we are. There's so many of us Welsh creatives. I'm trying to find us all.
Absolutely, and that's it's surprising who's about. It's absolutely brilliant, and doing some really amazing work. So yeah.
And I think that's been another beauty of lockdown. We haven't been able to go anywhere or do anything, but people can connect, on all these fabulous different new levels. And you meet some incredible people.
Yeah, it's just been, I mean, when a lot of doors are closed, there's been so many doors have opened as well. So, yeah. Though I do want to actually open the doors of my gallery soon.
Yeah, so, please.
Doors to open.
Yes, please.
For real people to be able to walk in as well, which is why we're sort of ploughing a lot of things into redoing the website as well, because at the end of the day, it's only going to be limited amount of people in Llandilo, which is gorgeous, but it's sad to see the town so quiet at the moment, but fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Very, very soon. Very, very soon. Well, thank you so much, Ray. Take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you soon.
Brilliant. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Mary. It was so wonderful to chat to you and hear all about your amazing talent and all the brilliant work that you do. And I mean, your products are just so beautiful. I hope you all had a wonderful time listening to that. And make sure you stay tuned, because we've got lots more amazing guests to come. Can't get rid of me yet. Take care, everyone. Bye.